Picture this, you're scrolling on a short form content app, but then you stumble upon a video like this. How to not be consumed by your thoughts as nostalgic music flows into the ears. Now all of a sudden you stop. You realize that you've watched 45 videos, but you only remember 2 of them. Was my brain meant to be consuming this much? And why do I feel this way? Is it burnout? Is it depression? Is it capitalism? My vision blurs as I peer into the scenery on my screen. My mind is now elsewhere, in the park I used to walk at as a kid. But deeper down, I'm not really thinking about the park. I'm trying to emulate the way I think I remember feeling about the park. Then I look out my window and see that there's a sunset right there. Maybe I don't have to escape to my nostalgia. So I get up and go on a walk. I love taking photos of the sunset in the sky now. I have over 200 photos from the last 2 years of taking walks. Why does this TikTok put me into such high gear and make me want to improve my life? What makes me so weak about seeing pretty scenery and soft music? Well, it's because they remind me of Hayao Miyazaki movies. Hayao Miyazaki is a prolific director and a huge driving force behind the juggernaut that is Studio Ghibli. Today, I want to explore some of his films, and in doing so, highlight his masterful approach to world building, characters, and message. Firstly, let's look at Kiki's Delivery Service, released in 1989. We follow Kiki, a young witch who leaves home to begin working, to fulfill herself, to live off of her passion, flying. She will, as the title suggests, run a delivery service. But over time, it gets harder, more complicated, not as lucrative. What started as an innocent dream to make a living doing what she knows becomes a tiresome chore that doesn't really have a return on investment. She gets burnt out, loses her ability to fly, and she doesn't know why.
I'm losing my witch's powers.
Maybe all of us are Kiki nowadays, trying to turn our passions and knowledge into money and profit. Kiki's Delivery Service ultimately posits that to overcome burnout, we must reconnect with the stillness of nature. That confidence and motivation come from peace, connection, and creation, not hard work. Kiki is amazed that an artist could live in the woods, drawing as it comes to her. In this digital age, it can sometimes seem like hard work is the only thing that defines a person.
Maybe you should just take a break.
Yeah, but still, if I can't fly...
Then stop trying. Take long walks, look at the scenery, doze off at noon. Don't even think about flying.
Kiki was happy dreaming, but she wasn't as happy doing. When expectations don't meet reality, it can hurt. Kiki wanted to make money off of her flying because it's what she knew, what people around her told her she would grow up to do.
It's one of our oldest customs that when a witch turns 13, she has to leave home for a year to begin her training.
In order to be a good witch, I have to train a year away from home.
Yeah, be sure to tell that to the boys.
This is what a witch does. They find a city without a witch and they become that city's witch. This is what we do. In our family, we go to college and get good jobs. But it's not on Kiki to live up to the world's expectations of her, and in doing so, she forgets herself. We don't have to forget ourselves for the sake of this fast-paced world.
I was your age. I'd already decided to become an artist. I loved to paint so much. I'd paint all day until I fell asleep right at my easel. And then one day, for some reason, I just couldn't paint anymore.
That sounds like me.
Princess Mononoke, released in 1997, starts with an attack on a small village by a demon from the woods. Ashitaka, our protagonist, is marked by this demon and is forced to venture into the wilderness set on lifting his newfound curse. With his elk Yakul, he leaves home, never to return. And yes, I know that is not an elk, but that's what the movie calls him. So it's like the squirrel thing from Nausicaä, you know? It's like it just has the name of a normal animal, but it's not actually a normal animal. On his journey, he meets Lady Eboshi, the leader of Irontown, an industrial village trying to expand further. We later learn that the demon from the start was a member of the Boar tribe that was shot by Eboshi. Ashitaka also meets our titular, Princess Mononoke, but her name is actually San. Mononoke are the little spirits we see throughout the film. The people of Irontown call San Princess Mononoke as a derogatory term, and I find it poignant that that's the title of the film. There is certainly a world where the movie is titled Ashitaka's Journey, or San, Sister of Wolves, or even Boar Demon or something like that, but it's not. San is not a traditional princess that make up many fairy tales. She is wild, vengeful, and angry. Angry at humans because unlike her, they don't respect nature. She lives in nature. She sees the harmony that Lady Eboshi wants to destroy. Off of this description, you'd think that Lady Eboshi is the villain of the film, and Google would agree, but I'm not sure that I do. I mean, structurally, in a lot of ways, she is the antagonist of the film, but if anything, she's not the villain. In Irontown, the iron is mainly produced by the women living there. These women are primarily former sex workers. Eboshi brought them to Irontown and gave them a new life. It's not just an industrial town, it's a safe haven for women to lead lives they never thought possible.
We risked our lives to bring you the rice you're all eating tonight, so watch your mouth!
And who made the iron that paid for that rice, huh? Tell me that.
Yeah, we're pumping those bellows while you pigs are in bed.
The people of Irontown are well fed and happy, but Eboshi is blinded by her human traits. The desire to expand, industrial revolution, take more land, build more homes, capitalize! Capitalism! Metaphor. She has no reason to expand, to conquer nature. Her life is good. She's become a leader by sheer will, overcome obstacles, and built a good life for her and her community. Yet she chooses to conquer more, to go against nature, and ultimately this endangers her dream. What I think is most important at the heart of Princess Mononoke is the understanding that humans are a part of nature. We make the choice to build industrialized society, to chop down trees and pollute our oceans. We aren't against nature, and that is Lady Eboshi's fundamental misunderstanding. San then is the opposite. She doesn't think of herself as human and continuously makes efforts to stop Lady Eboshi's expansion. San thinks that nature is best left unsoiled by humans, and she rides around blood-soaked, enacting justice how she sees fit. Ashitaka then, as our protagonist, is the neutral stance. He is the relatable human character standing between two radical ideas about the world. This is added to by his home village being one with nature, never growing beyond its necessary means for hundreds of years, in stark contrast to Irontown. Nonetheless, he's able to reason with Lady Eboshi, he saves one of her men that were hunted down by San, and is able to have a rational conversation with her, to a point at least. On the other side, Ashitaka's harmonious relationship with his elk Yakul endears San to him. For the first time in her life, she connects with another human that sees eye to eye in so many ways. Conflict destroys industrialized society and nature all the same. Princess Mononoke makes the case that maybe we just don't need conflict at all. Lives don't need to be cost. Not monkeys, wolves, humans, elks, or boars.
Ashitaka, can someone find him? I need to thank him. We're going to start all over again. This time we'll build a better town.
Ashitaka, you mean so much to me, but I can't forgive the humans for what they've done.
I understand. Yakul and I will come and visit you whenever we can, all right?
These two movies encapsulate a lot of the messaging that Miyazaki is famous for. For one, he is extremely anti-war and violent conflict, and on top of that, he always makes sure to include themes of environmentalism and harmony with nature in his films. We can see this present in his work over the past 3 decades. I am so fond of Porco Rosso. In high school, near the end of one of my school years, we watched Porco Rosso in my class. Whenever I watch it again, I'm just transported back to that time, this wonderful, magical movie right at the kickoff of summer. I do be totin' things in this tote bag. This was also the second Hayao Miyazaki film I had ever seen, but it's the first one I had seen with an interest in film and not as a 7-year-old. Porco Rosso follows the story of a fighter pilot who, whilst in the middle of a battle in a war, turns into a pig. A beautiful sequence. In one line, in what may be one of the greatest lines to ever grace cinema, we can sum up the entire point of Porco Rosso.
Thanks for the offer, but I'd rather be a pig than a fascist.
Thank you, Michael Keaton.
When you're offered an opportunity to play a pig who's an airplane flying ace, how do you not do that? I mean, you just gotta do that, I think.
Now, years after this event, Porco is still a pig. We find he is not concerned with his appearance so much as he is his behaviors and choices. To him, being a pig is simply a fact of life, but to participate in meaningless war, to support a violent regime, that is what is disgusting. That is something he could never reconcile with. In this, we find a much stronger protagonist than Miyazaki generally writes. A lot of characters in Miyazaki's films are kids that come of age, like Chihiro or Kiki or the Ponyo kids, and a lot of them are characters that take neutral stances or stumble into happenstance, like Sophie and Ashitaka. Ashitaka is prided on his ability to make sense of both sides, whereas Porco Rosso says, "Fuck the other side." And in this self-assuredness and message, he is admired and loved by a lot of people in this movie. Porco would never just follow orders, and for that, Maybe he's still more human than any fascist.
You know, it's a great place, except for that ugly photograph you keep hanging on the wall up there.
Hey, that's my favorite picture. I can't believe you scribbled over your face. That's the only picture left of you as a human. How are you ever going to break that stupid curse on you, Marco?
Face it, I'm a pig.
In the middle of 7th grade, I moved. Away from home, away from my friends, away from school, and it sucked. 7th grade, the second half of it was horrible. I had no friends. I didn't really start socializing there until 8th grade. God, do I wish that I had Spirited Away back then. Spirited Away, released in 2001, follows Chihiro, a 10-year-old girl, as her family moves. The film literally opens on her whining about not wanting to move on the way to their new house. And before we know it, Chihiro is stuck alone in a land for spirits, trying to rescue her parents that have been turned into pigs because of their rampant gluttony. This is the anxiety of moving in one's youth, amplified by 1 million. We could follow Chihiro as she navigates her new home and school, or we could watch her in a mystical land where she truly, actually does not belong. The thing that is so amazing about Spirited Away, and really fantasy in general, is that heightened reality, right? If Chihiro was to have this coming of age set to the backdrop of her new school, we have to write it so that she does actually belong. But in this movie, Chihiro can't belong for the story to be as effective as it is, and so the principal of the school becomes this abomination of proportion, Yubaba the witch, who steals her name. The friendly face when one is so desperately needed becomes this water-bending dragon spirit ninja anime protagonist Haku. The kindly old neighbor that helps you settle in is now this spindly spider monster who runs a boiler room with magical soot. The tests become overcoming Yubaba and rescuing her parents. Yubaba runs a bathhouse for spirits. Chihiro applies for a job there. Yubaba steals her name and also reveals that she can turn her parents back into humans. As such, Chihiro basically does indentured servitude. It is genuinely very bleak for a while. A few years ago, I showed this to my class in the after-school program I worked in for a Friday movie night. When Chihiro's parents turn into pigs, kind of settling into this world, they were genuinely afraid. We almost had to turn it off. Ultimately, we continued the movie. After it, they absolutely loved the movie. How awesome is that? They found some self-assuredness and decided to continue doing something that was a little uncomfortable, and ultimately it felt rewarding. Similarly, through all of these trials and tribulations, Chihiro finds self-assuredness. The ability to handle a scary new place is a superpower here. If she can handle witches, demons, and stink spirits, she can damn well handle a new house and school. And so Spirited Away leaves us on her leaving the spirit world and seeing that nothing has actually changed. No time has passed, and her parents remember nothing. There is no doubt in our mind that Chihiro is going to be okay. Spirited Away is personally my favorite Miyazaki film. It just resonated with me so deeply, not only for its creativity and its world, but also just Chihiro as a protagonist. Obviously, we talked about the self-assuredness themes for Chihiro, but it is not without its environmentalism themes, as are all of Miyazaki's works. Haku is actually like a river spirit, and Chihiro's respect for that river previously in her life actually helps her navigate the spirit world. So there is a very literal Chihiro respected nature, and she was given a benefit because of that. I mean, she's literally Lilo in the English dub.
Please, can't you give me a job? Yes, he's good. I can tell.
I was so lucky to be able to see it in theaters in 2021 for Ghibli Fest. Now let's talk about a movie infamous amongst gamers for birthing a very common e-dater name duo, Howl's Moving Castle. Sophie, our protagonist, is living an innocuous life, almost that of an olden Disney princess. Her family is like belittling to her, and her life is drab, and even though she's smart, kind, and beautiful, she has no confidence and is going through the motions with zero aspirations, at least that we can parse. One day, she meets Howl by chance, a wizard of legend, as he protects her from some guys. He takes her hand and whisks her away.
Leave me alone.
There you are, sweetheart. Sorry I'm late. I was looking everywhere for you.
After this chance meeting, the Witch of the Waste is jealous.
What a tacky shop. Yet you're by far the tackiest thing here.
I'm afraid you will have to leave now.
He can't keep getting away with it! He won't.
She's a creepy pervert, and she steals Sophie's youth to keep herself younger because she's like jealous of her talking to Howl, and Sophie literally just becomes an 80-year-old woman, like straight up. She's just like old. In an effort to rectify this, Sophie ventures into the mountains to find Howl and his moving castle. Howl's moving castle is set in wartime. Howl is very opposed to this war. He is also unable to take care of himself and is sort of lost in his mission. So Sophie welcomes herself into his life and begins to tidy everything up. She helps him lead a more organized life and handle his emotions more maturely. In a twist at the end, we see Sophie, dilated in time, talking to Howl as a kid. She realizes he needs her and understands why she's there and what she brings to this conflict. So she tells him to come find her.
Help them up! I know how to help you now!
Sorry I'm late. I was looking everywhere for you.
It's one of those time loops, chicken versus the egg, how does this even actually make sense sort of things. Whatever. Sophie is genuinely such an interesting protagonist because she's sort of set up like Cinderella. But unlike Cinderella going back to the status quo, Sophie can't. She's 80 years old. Can someone create change in the world if they can't even make a change at home, let alone now in a weakened state? Well, yes, Sophie can. She barges into the castle, starts acting like it's her house, and whips everything into shape. Howl is also an interesting little duck. He has a pact with a fire demon. He doesn't have a heart, at least he didn't for a while. He ate a star when he was a kid, so, lots of baggage there. Him and Sophie help each other lift their respective curses, so true love prevails in the end. They avoid the pitfall of making Howl the main character by the middle, or having Howl just always rescue Sophie. On the contrary, Sophie is very active in the plot throughout. She helps create plans, and she does like heists with Howl. Sophie is not only the hero, she's about as normal as a normal person can be, and she's now living with a wizard, his apprentice, and a magical fire demon. But that touch of a real person is what turns Howl's Moving Castle into Howl's Moving Home. Sophie and Howl stop a war. Sophie's confidence allows her to become young again. Her and Howl fall in love and have a dream life. So in contrast to some more ambiguous endings we've talked about, at least on a more literal level, Sophie has a very finalized feeling story.
I feel terrible, like there's a weight on my chest.
A heart's a heavy burden.
Wow, Sophie, your hair looks just like starlight.
Think so? So do I!
I love these stories of assuredness in oneself and respecting nature and how that can lead you to happiness. Now, the first Hayao Miyazaki film that I ever saw was Ponyo. I'm pretty sure we rented it from Redbox, so that's awesome. And when I was 7 or 8, whenever, I watched this, I was so encapsulated by it. It was like nothing I had ever seen. Ponyo, 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 fishy in the sea. Yeah. Ponyo is a goldfish and the daughter of ocean deities. At the start of the film, she escapes from Fujimoto's custody, her overbearing, overprotective father. Now, Fujimoto, being an ocean deity, sort of starts up some bullshit with the sea levels and, gravity of the moon to get Ponyo back. Should also note, her name is not actually Ponyo, it's Brunhilde. But Ponyo is the name that she was given by her friend Sasuke.
My name is not Brunhilde, it's Ponyo.
Sasuke is a young boy, the youngest protagonist we've talked about so far. I think he's 5. Lisa is Sasuke's mom. And when did the clock change to Baddie O'Clock?
Thoughts in my mind, going so crazy, I just wanna hear you.
One day, playing in the ocean, Sasuke catches Brunhilde, names her Ponyo, and they become friends. What follows is a town situated on a small island in turmoil as the threat of flooding becomes ever-present and foreboding. Lisa, who works in a retirement community, gets separated from Sasuke and Ponyo, and the kids have to venture out into the newfound ocean view to reconnect with her. Through this, we find a boy out of his depth and a sleepy little girl who did not properly plan ahead, but with the help of some of the community and just enough sheer force of will, we reconnect. Ponyo's mom, a literal goddess, gives Lisa and Sasuke her blessing to take in Ponyo as a human and have her name actually be Ponyo because Sasuke's love is just that pure.
Wow, that one's really huge.
That's Devin Incus.
Devin Incus.
That's so cute. I want to point out that there is not an uncommon opinion that this movie sucks or is at least Miyazaki's worse. I don't subscribe to that belief at all. Not to say it's not a beloved film like it is, but I have seen that opinion in my decades on the internet enough that I know it's out there. And I don't know, man, this really does feel to me like you must hate like whimsy and fun. It's also like beautifully animated. People say the music is worse. I don't think so. Maybe it's biased because it's the first one that I saw, but I find a lot about this movie so charming, and it holds up with the rest of his work to me. I love how isolated it feels while still keeping that like sense of wonder and scale that these movies always do. The use of the ocean as a setting compared to like this super small island community is really nice. In this movie, we see many a nostalgic shot for me. It's one of the more beautiful Miyazaki films in my opinion, all of them being beautiful, but this one just really hits home for me. It probably is that nostalgia and bias, but still. It's sort of like a TikTok to make me walk. Speaking of a TikTok to make me walk, remember that park I talked about in the beginning? Well, it's still there. And as of last year, my family officially does not live anywhere around that park at all. They've all moved away and excised that community. So after that, I got emotional and I drove an hour to go there, and I indulged. I ate at a restaurant that I liked as a kid, and I walked around the park. And while I walked around the park, I listened to the Boy and the Heron soundtrack. Music is a huge part of Hayao Miyazaki's films, and you should be very mad that I have not brought that up until now. All of his movies have iconic, memorable scores, and that's in large part thanks to consistent collaborator Joe Hisaishi, an immensely talented composer. Some of my favorites are Cave of Mind and The Boy Who Swallowed a Star from Howl's Moving Castle, One Summer Day from Spirited Away, In Search of a Distant Era from Porco Rosso, and The Great Collapse and Mihito's Commitment from The Boy and the Heron. But yeah, The Boy and the Heron, Miyazaki's most recent film, released in 2023. I watched this one in theaters as a new release, which was a first for me. It was not the first Ghibli movie I saw in theaters. Like I said, I saw Spirited Away for Ghibli Fest in 2021, and I've seen a few others. I try to always make sure I go to Ghibli Fest at least once. It happens every year at Regal through Fathom Events. If you have a Regal near you, Ghibli Fest should start soon. It's usually in the fall, I believe. If you have not seen Spirited Away or Princess Mononoke or any of these movies, go see them in theaters for the first time. Like, what a wonderful experience that can be. But anyways, The Boy and the Heron. In the start, Mihito, our protagonist's mom, dies in a bombing. Miyazaki has recounted his memory of being 4 years old and experiencing an air raid during World War II. So to this, we can maybe understand to a larger degree his hatred of war and violent conflict. The Boy and the Heron may be his most personal film, and initially he had said it would be his last. Apparently, he's changed his mind. Yay. Mihito and his father move to countryside in the wake of this tragedy and adopt a new life with his mom's sister, Natsuko. Mihito hates it there. He meets the heron who frequents the grounds, and it's revealed to be some sort of imposter creature. It tells him that if they go into a blocked off section of the grounds, this crumbled castle, he can get his mom back. Mihito is hesitant at first and thinks he's lying, but then Noriko falls ill. He blames the heron, and like a jolt of lightning, he thinks maybe he can save Noriko. He can save her and absolve his shame of not saving his mom. They wander through a fantasy world with many creative locations. It's time dilated, a place made by Mahito's grandfather. He meets his mom as a kid and learns that she used to go to this place too. Through this, he finds some peace. Meeting his mom the same age as him gives him a newfound perspective and an appreciation for Natsuko. As we ponder on the meaning of the universe as his mystical wizard grandfather talks to him, the parakeets attack. Oh yeah, there's a group of massive budgies that are staging a coup. Birds are quite important in this pocket dimension. Herons, pelicans, parakeets. There is a big sequence when Mahito first gets to this pocket dimension where he meets a temporary ally, Kiriko, and they stop the feeding of these cute guys. But then Mahito's mom gets really mad at them, and she's like, hey, like, this is nature. You don't mess with the life cycle down here. Just because you're endeared to these little guys doesn't mean you can stop the pelicans from eating them, because that's what needs to happen. That's what nature is here. That's the life cycle. You don't mess with that. Mahito has seen his mom in a way he maybe never got to see her as he knew her. Coming to grips with tragedy is really at the heart of this movie, and even in this one, what do you think it posits the answer to that is? Well, if you guessed harmony with nature and self-assuredness, you would be correct.
My door's a different one. I have to go there as I'm going to become your mother.
But if you go back there, you're gonna die in the fire at the hospital.
Fire doesn't scare me. You know I'm really lucky to have you as a son. I hope you know what a good boy you are.
In Miyazaki's worlds, there is nothing that those two things will not do for you. But what happens when having a connection with nature just means dirt and beetle monsters? In Nausicaä Valley of the Wind, Princess Nausicaä is living in a post-apocalyptic wasteland. There are a bunch of kingdoms that have spawned after the apocalypse, and Nausicaä is the princess of the Valley of the Wind. Her dad is the king. There is some conflict between them. Turomykia invaded the Pedgites, and now are planning to invade the Valley of the Wind. Nausicaä helps out a lot as princess. She's a skilled pilot and she scavenges the dangerous toxic jungle for resources. The toxic jungle is a designated area dominated by ohms, or the giant beetle monsters. Sort of Dune vibes. Nausicaä may be my favorite protagonist amongst like Porco and Chihiro. Nausicaä just feels like so full of personality. She's confident, she's spunky, she has an attitude, but she's also very kind. She's a natural leader, and that can be really fun to watch. She's just bubbly. That's the word I'd use. And she's a badass, and we love her for that. We stan Nausicaä here on the Hippo channel. Nausicaä is the only one who sees ohms as they are, like normal animals, but everyone wants to kill them, whereas Nausicaä talks to them and loves them. It is definitely another anti-war film as Nausicaä navigates the conflicts between kingdoms. And yes, you guessed it, the movie has themes of environmentalism. The film builds to a massive battle between ohms, Pedgites, Tolmecians, and this massive living weapon that was sealed away for centuries. Nausicaä ends it all with a peace offering, and her and the ohms show people that rage isn't the answer. It also has a very funky score compared to some other Miyazaki films, so that's nice. Hayao Miyazaki will always be one of my favorite filmmakers. His works have guided, inspired, and comforted me. And I didn't even cover all of his movies today. He's worked on other iconic films like My Neighbor Totoro, Castle in the Sky, and The Wind Rises. I hope you enjoyed my love letter to his work, because really that's just what this video is. I love these movies so much. I've seen all of them multitudes of times. They are the definition of a comfort movie for me. If you're ever doom scrolling on TikTok and bored, maybe watch one of his movies instead. Or maybe just go on a walk. I want to give a huge thank you to my channel members, Kat McKee, Phoenix E, and McSnickerbottom. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. I appreciate it. My friends, if you enjoyed that, make sure to like and subscribe. Check out another one of my videos. Other than that, have a great day or night. Hippo out.